So in today's video, I thought it would be worth it if we went back and took a look at a particular tweet coming from a Ninjago fan, and also the reply from one of the writers of Ninjago, in this case that being none other than Chris Wyatt, a name that at this point needs no introduction. I'm sure you guys are all very familiar with that name. He is of course one of the main writers for Ninjago, right alongside Kevin Burke. But yeah, it's gonna be one of those classic type of videos that I always used to make, and yeah. People have been asking questions recently with the release of part 1 of season 2 of Dragons Rising, so naturally a lot of different stuff has been said and has kind of been talked about, I suppose. And the main reason I'm talking about this piece of information today isn't just because I have run out of ideas or have nothing else to talk about, but it's because the question asked by this particular fan on Twitter is a question revolving around something that happened in season 1 that I feel as though has kind of been forgotten about. Let me explain. There has been so many different plot points going on within Dragons Rising, both in Season 1 and Season 2, and a lot of them have been left open-ended. But since those things were left open-ended, and as we progress further throughout the later episodes, even more information has been piled onto us. So things like this from Season 1 tend to be a little bit forgotten about. Again, as I say, I'm going to be making a whole separate video more in general about that kind of thing, and how I think it's actually ended up being a good thing for Ninjago, but that's kind of besides the point. Let's get to it. So a fan, again, as I was saying earlier, on Twitter, asked this, quote, "I understand if you're unable to give an answer at the moment, but I was wondering what happened with Cole hearing the earth screaming. They're still ongoing, right? Or did they end along with the mergequakes?" And then Doc himself replied with a fairly simple answer, right? As he just said, "Good question. This will be answered in time." And I feel as though this is actually a really useful and great answer for many Ninjago fans, as I've made videos in the past about how a lot of Ninjago fans before Season 2 were kind of worried that all of these open-ended plot points would end up being almost forgotten about and actually wouldn't be answered. But it's good to have some reassurance on this. Me personally, I was pretty confident that the writers knew what they were doing. I'd say I've been quite confident in these two writers since the very beginning of Season 1. I thought that the work they were doing was great, but I can definitely understand why some Ninjago fans were kind of worried, given Ninjago's track record of having these open plot points and then just kind of forgetting about them and never actually answering them. So it's good to know that the whole earth screaming concept that was kind of brought up once and then never really mentioned again is still a thing. The writers are well aware of it, and it's actually going to be answered and kind of brought back to the spotlight in the future. I just think it's great, and it's really interesting that we actually have a solid, concrete answer and confirmation regarding this whole thing. That's basically going to conclude things for this one though. Wanted to talk about this because again, it's interesting to me, and it's one of those things that a lot of Ninjago fans I think have kind of forgotten about. I know I certainly have. With all of this being said, feel free to leave any of your own thoughts on this down below in the comment section. Would love to hear your own thoughts regarding it. If you enjoyed today's video, please do leave a like on it for me. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more like this as well. And also, feel free to turn on that post notification bell so that you can stay informed whenever I do post a new video. And yeah, with all of this being said, that's going to conclude things here. So take it easy, you guys, and goodbye.